with our MS4 permit compliance. Really, the big highlights or changes that you notice in the report this year are just the growth in the village. So the growth in the amount of street sweeping, the growth in the amount of catch basin cleaning, things like that is in regards to storm sewer.
Okay. Questions for Amber? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
The motion passes. Let's move on to item 2, a motion to approve entering into an inspection services contract with Core Incorporated for the hourly rate of $82 for a primary inspector and $104 for a senior inspector and $68 for a secondary intern inspector be approved.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Amber, any comments?
No, this is the same engineering firm that did for inspection last summer. Last summer, they worked specifically only on roadway inspection. So this year they do, we'll be bringing in a little bit more qualified staff to help us out with utility installation as well.
Okay. Questions for Amber? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Let's move on to item 3, a motion to award the 2021 project 21-01, 2021 street improvement project in Vinton Construction for a contract cost of $2,663,971.95 be approved.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion is second. There was some back and forth regarding the over-under on some of the components. You want to just give us a little highlight?
Correct. So this is the overall cost that you see here in the motion, that those costs are split up between DPW budget, both water and wastewater budgets, as well as some TID funding. The TID funding and the DPW budgets will be right at budget. Any of the extra funding is on the water and wastewater side. Some of that extra funding that shows that we came under budget is allocated for additional projects that are under the same line item in the budget.
Yeah, there is well, $578,000 in savings that we're realizing from what was budgeted compared to the water and sewer projects that are going to be undertaken this year. And those have to do with us not knowing whether or not we would have to replace sewers. And there's 3 road projects where we don't have to replace the sewer main. And that's where that savings came from.
Okay. Questions for Steve or Amber?
This includes how many miles of streets is this?
I believe with the total of everything on here, we were up to just about 1.1 miles,
So it's a little more than normal?
a little bit more than a mile.
Okay, thank you.
And I also saw some back and forth on maybe juggling some of the CIP projects, 24, 25, things like that. So to address some of the concerns that have been brought forward, so that's good. Motion is second. Any final questions for Amber? Or on this project? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 4 is a motion to award contract 21-02, the sidewalk replacement program to Reza. Is it Reza?
I'll make
Raza,
a motion.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Motion is second, and to complete that is for the contract amount of $39,313.72, but that is in the documentation. Questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 That motion passes. Item 5 is a motion to approve change order 1 in the amount of $614.25, change order 2 in the amount of $26,331.43, change order 3 in the amount of $1,561.88, and change order 4 in the amount of $1,595.88 for Copeland and Keenest company be approved.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
So these are all of the change orders for the 2020 street and utility projects. Some of these changes came forward when we were kind of in the safer at home and construction projects were still moving forward. So these are the only and the final change orders to close out last year's project, and the overall budget, we are still overall under budget.
Okay. Motion is second. Comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Item 6 is a motion to authorize the utility to enter a contractual agreement with Baxter and Woodman Consulting Engineers of Milwaukee to provide professional engineering service for an update to the village's existing water system master plan at a not to exceed cost of $24,900.
I would make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion second, Amber?
I'll second.
This is a project that was actually in last year's budget that did not occur due to the COVID shutdowns. But this is a master plan update. This is recommended to be done every 5 years to ensure that as we grow and as we add water mains to the village, that we are appropriately sizing them and placing them. Really comes into play this year as we're looking at another new subdivision on the west side of town. We definitely will need some good guidance from this plan on how to get that designed.
Okay, motion second, any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 7 is a motion to approve WWTF Power and Control Equipment Consolidation Project Engineering Agreement with MSA Professional Services for a total cost not to exceed $146,750 contingent upon Attorney Herbrand's approval. Be approved.
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second.
Okay, Amber?
So this project is slightly over budget, but the additional funds from the street improvement project will be used to cover the additional money. This project takes some of the old outdated electrical work within the main plant and upgrades that, but also connects the entire plant to a new generator that was installed as part of the Headworks project, so that that generator will be able to power the entire plant if needed. Attorney Herbrand has started his review.
Thank you. I have done a preliminary review, but I do anticipate offering some comments to both Larry and Amber and MSA. So I do appreciate the motion being subject to final legal review.
Okay, any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That motion passes. Move on to item 7, Department and Officers Reports. Jesse, want to get us started?
Certainly. On behalf of the Community Development Department, wanted to give kind of a benchmark update. So far this year to date, we have received, the Community Development Department has received just over 400 permit applications, being building, electrical, and whatnot. At this point last year, there was only 220 applications received. So long and short, they are working hard to keep up with the flow. At the same time, they are in the process of implementing the new permit IT software, which will help automate this process as far as it allows for online applications, online payments, and online issuance. So really will help streamline that overall process. But a lot of activity going on here in the village with regards to construction, building updates, new construction, what have you. The other big update that I have is, as you all may or may not have been following in the news, the federal government did approve a new COVID-19 related stimulus package that was passed into law. That law is currently with the U.S. Treasury Department. The U.S. Treasury Department is trying to determine how to disseminate those funds amongst all of the different municipal stakeholders at all the different levels, being cities, towns, villages, counties, what have you. I sat in a webinar this afternoon, and there are a lot of unanswered questions that need to be researched further. Such things being asked that there was no answer to at this point. Would this stimulus fund impact a community's ability to comply with expenditure restraint guidelines in a given state? This was a nationwide webinar that we participated in, being our finance director, Chief Caponera, and myself. And it is understood at this point that this is not a CARES Act 2.0. This is a different scoped type of stimulus package in that it appears as though it's going to be focused on infrastructure, utility infrastructure, small business relief, poverty relief, utility bill forgiveness. In essence, more of a seed money opportunity for some of these programs and whatnot for different communities. We are still not clear on what, I guess, the proverbial hoops to go through or what proverbial strings would be attached to this funding. And so we are going to be reading and attending as many webinars as we can as a municipality, because right now, the initial report is that the Village of Grafton would be in line for approximately $1 million worth of stimulus funds through this legislation. That has not been finalized. We don't know this for sure, but again, we don't even have the guidelines, the final guidelines as to what exactly this stimulus funding could be used for. So I want to stress with the board that this is coming, but quite frankly, we don't know how much and what the rules are for this program. So please anticipate further discussions at the board level regarding this legislation and this stimulus package. That is my update for this evening.
Amber, anything you wish to add, Chief?
Yeah, so I just wanted to update everybody. Our new police officer applicants passed everything, so we're looking forward to them starting here within the first 2 weeks of April. They still have to give notice to their current agency, so I'm not going to release any information as to who they are yet, but we're looking forward to getting them started. Our process for our records specialist position drew 57 applicants. So changing the designation on the PSS to a position that people can relate with and recognize their special skills to really helped us in this instance, as well as, being a place to work. Everybody wants to come to Grafton, so I'm going to stick with that. We are going to be hosting the National Night Out event this year in Grafton. August 6th, 2021 will be held here. It'll be the first time that we've separated from the rest of the county. It's still going to be a county event, but we're going to be hosting in each different city and village to be able to give our residents more of an opportunity to attend. So we're hoping that it'll draw a really good crowd for us this year. So if anybody has any ideas, they can direct them to my neighborhood services liaison, Bill Schmitz, and he will direct them, help them out, and we can get that going as well. So a lot of good things coming out of the police department right now, and we're just extremely busy. So
yeah, excellent. Anything else on the public works?
I'll just mention really quick, we are still searching for a lot of summer applicants. So DPW and utility would still need another probably 5 or 8 summer staff to hire to be able to keep up with our kind of summer duties. So if anyone knows of any college, high school, really anybody looking for a summer position, please pass them our way.
Yeah. All right, staff, I'm sorry, board, Lisa.
Amber, any further discussion since last week on possibilities for the Heritage Subdivision citizen complaints? Although now that I'm hearing Jesse say this, I'm thinking that that might be a good project for
I don't know
that street, but
what
have
that
you
means yet.
talked at all or looked anywhere for any possible extra funds for that project?
Extra funds?
Yeah.
No.
That's how
I don't have any
phrase it.
ideas for extra funds. But I am currently working on a new 5-year CIP. So, the best I can do at recommendation is to move them up a year from 2025 to 2024. But I will bring that forward to Board of Public Works and the Village Board for further discussion.
Right, and Jesse, if possibly we will get some funds from the US Treasury, and it will be focused on infrastructure, maybe that's a possibility.
It's something we're absolutely going to explore. We need to understand what, I guess, the regulations are behind that stimulus package, and absolutely, we will explore all avenues in which we would be able to responsibly leverage that relief funding. Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you have a follow-up on when your next webinar or meeting is going to be, so when you're going to know more information?
I believe these are weekly webinars. They are scheduled each week. And so we'll look to keep up with that conversation. As I mentioned, we have multiple staff members following this conversation and doing the due diligence and trying to get as much information as we possibly can.
Yeah, I always, it's way too early to speculate. It's like Jesse kind of alluded to, there's just so many questions that are unanswered. And, like you said, this is not CARES Act. this is something completely different, so, and if the, the federal government hasn't figured it out yet, they don't have any guidance for us at the local level.
We can be hopeful.
We can always be hopeful. Okay, all right, let's move on to item 8, licenses, entertain a motion for approval of our single requester.
I'll make the motion for approval.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion and then we have a second.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 9, entertain a motion for approval of village expenditures, $278,228.09.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second, and I saw very limited back and forth on the questions.
I have one question I missed.
All right.
This is a packet to it from Grafton School for a $3,100. That's not what page that was on, sorry.
Was that for a rental day?
Yes.
That, as I recall on
Facility
speaking,
rental, yes.
yep, and speaking with Director Phelan, that is the portion of last year's rental. We have been in conversations with the school district on, in essence, settling the bill, so to speak, for last year's rental. Because they were limited, certain rentals, we had to bring in our own porta potty facilities because we could not have access to the buildings. And so this is a prorated payment of that rental contract.
So these are for activities for the rec department that were done in high school.
Correct. Or school facilities in general, but yes, yep.
Any questions? Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Aye.
Item 10 is the motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
So moved.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, adjourn. Thank you all. very much.
Aye.
Aye.